Okay, hi everyone. Today we'll be solving this problem from Leetcode 217, contains duplicate. Given an integer array num, return true if any value appears at least twice in the array, and return false if every element is distinct. So let's figure out what our input is. So in this case, our input is nums of array, and our output is Boolean. So return true if value appears more than once, else return false. Okay, and our constraint is, for now, I'll just put it as an optimize because I don't see a specific constraint. And edge case is, let me see if there is a case where array is empty. So in this case, you can just ask the person who is interviewing you if you can assume that array is never empty, and just ask them what to do if there is a case if the array is empty. So for me, I'm just gonna say array, if array is empty, dot length equals to 0, then return false. Okay, first let's just take care of our edge case, which is if nums dot length equals to 0, return false. Okay, so the easiest way I can think of to solve this problem is with a hash map. So what we can do is iterate through the number, and every value or every element we encounter, we will put it in the hash. And if we have seen that numbers again, we'll just increment the count. So at the end, once we have gone through the iteration and put the value inside our hash map, we can check if the count is greater than 1. If it is, then we'll return true, and if not, we'll return false. So let's write it out. So we're going to say iterate through the nums array and add the element of nums into the hash, increment the count if the element is seen before or already exists in the hash, and then at the end we'll just check if the count is greater than 1. Return true, else return false. So let's try to solve it this way. I'll solve it this way, then I'll show you another way I saw someone else solve it. So you could, either use this method, which is a bit, simple. Well, I guess both the methods are simple, but you can just later. So what we can do is assign a variable, let's say key values, as an empty object. And we can say for let I equals to 0, I is less than nums.length, and I++. So I can say if the value nums I. So what I'm saying is in here, if the we haven't encountered this nums I in the object before, then we'll just initialize it as key values nums I equals to 0. So if it is the first time we'll see it, I'll just say initialize it as a 0 as a value. And the reason I'm initializing as 0 as a value for now, because it just makes it easier to just increment the count. So, you know, if it is 0 as initialize, if once we get through the if loop, once we get through the if statement, we can just assign it as 1. But even if it was the value we have already seen before, it will skip the if, and then it will just increment the 1. Anyhow, so here, so we should have key value with the elements and then the number of time it was repeated within the array. So here we can say for let key in, let's say let le in key value. So here I'm using for loop for the object or hash. So when you do the for loop for the hash, you usually use in. But if you were to do it for array, you would use for. Or off, actually it's off. So what we can do is we can see if key values le is greater than 1, then we'll return true. If not, at the end we'll return false. So you want to make sure that you return the false after the for loop, because you don't want to return false prematurely. Let's say like if we go through this loop and you go to the for, and if you know in this part the count will be less than 1, so you don't want to return false right away. You want to go through the entire array, the loop, and then return false. Okay, so let's try to run and see if this solves it. Okay, I have an error. Oh, okay, so it should be nums. Let's try that again. Okay, it looks like it passed this test case, so I'm gonna submit it to see if it actually passed the whole thing. Okay, so that solves it. Okay, so the other way I have seen people solve this problem, which I thought was quite interesting, was that what they did was convert this in a set. So the thing we know about the set is that all the value in the set is unique. So what the person did was convert the array into set by saying let new set equals to new set, and then pass in the array. So once you do that, that would effectively convert the array into set, and it would only have a specific like one of a kind value. So if you were to pass this and make it into a set, you would get 1, 2, 3, and 1 would not be there because we have already seen 1 before. So what they did was to compare the size of the set with the length of the initial array we were given. So they just did a return new set dot size equals to nums dot length. So in this case, I guess we are supposed to return true if it appears more than once. So I guess this wouldn't work. So we would have to say if goes to that, then we'll return false, else return true. Okay, let's test this out. Okay, so this one works as well. Let's try to submit it to see if there is any edge case that we miss. Okay, so that's another way of solving it. So by doing this, it is way less coding, and it's faster than the way I had solved it. So you could do either way.